Hey, it's Zach. You're watching 91X Riffs and Gearheads, and I'm here at House of Blues San Diego with Johnny from Catfish and the Bottlemen. Welcome to San Diego.
Thank you for having me, man.
And
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you here. And I'm stoked because you're going to walk us through your pedal board, and not a lot of people are always comfortable with that because sometimes pedal boards have secrets, but you're not afraid to reveal any of that, huh?
There's no great secrets behind this one. It's a pretty simplistic board. There's not much to it, but I do a lot of sort of river dancing on it, you know, tapping away sort of thing. It's more combinations of it than having a lot of stuff on the floor. But
I got you. Well, there's a lot there. Let's talk about it.
Right, so this top corner there, we've got the Strymon Timeline, which is Strymon make amazing pedals, and that thing can do so much. But I'm the kind of person who gets a pedal like that, leaves the manual close to the bin, and sort of never uses it for its full potential. So this is generally just a box of, I use this for just bits of like chaos you need, and then just mad looping sort of thing. And I'll usually have the reverse setting on, some like instrumental breaks, create like a sort of just dubby repeating kind of thing, and which is much the same use for this really. That's the only other delay on here, and that's the it's based on the Space Echo like outboard unit. And
you know what? I wonder if we should just grab the guitar and demo some of that as we're talking about it.
Yeah, can do.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, no problem.
You want to do some of that? Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
As I said, this is a sort of just like has this like because it's based on the actual analog tape machine. It has this sort of repeating effect built into it, as if the tape's speeding up, which is good for you, and just trying to create sort of madness, basically. So just.
And then the timeline. Let's see what you were talking about that.
Another one I sort of just use just for filling sort of instrumental space and just sort of, as I say, sort of like dubby kind of sound to it.
The tremolo. Oh yeah, so it's another Strymon you said?
Yeah, but this other Strymon here, I just use that for a sort of very lighter reverb, like a. And then the Holy Grail's got the longer, more drenched sound. That's like a whole verb on that.
Is that a like vintage Holy Grail?
It's not vintage, but it's been kicked about a fair bit. Like, no, as I say, there's nothing particularly far out on the board really. It's just a combination of delays and really and reverbs and that sort of thing. This one I started using after the second album when we've been recording with Dave Sardi, and he has one of the actual Binson actual Echo Rex in there. It's another tape machine, and this is just a pedal that emulates that I use for more sort of slappy kind of thing. That kind of slap. That's it for the sort of delays and verbs. And the whammy again, just use the sort of madness and the octave up, octave down effect. These sort of things. I think Tom Morello's sort of painted that sound already, really, but that's the sort of thing that's for. And
yeah, I kind of feel like Tom Morello took the whammy pedal and just took ownership of it as soon as it came out, and it was pretty much finished for everybody.
He turned it into an instrument, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, then over this side, the OCD, the full tone, that's just a sort of more like generic distortion I'll use for hitting chords and things like that. This. Much like that, just a little boost on top of that. And then this Bassmaster, that's a Maleko pedal, and I started using that after the new record when we were in with Jackknife Lee, and when we turned up in a studio in Ireland called Grouse Lodge, he just sort of tipped out this big kit bag full of effects pedals, and there was some amazing stuff in there.
No kidding.
Did
you take that home, or you went and found one of your own?
I had to find one myself. There's no way he would have been parting with that. He's got some mad stuff, and that was one that sort of became integral to get because it got used a lot on the new album, and that's another one. It's got a sort of like octavey type thing underneath it.
Yeah, let's hear what that does.
It's that big scratchy kind of fuzz type thing. And then there's Vexter, the Fuzz Factory, which I love these pedals, but they truly have a life of their own. You can turn it on like 10 times and it's going to sound different, but that's
really
sort of the charm of the pedal. And I use that mostly for, there's a song we have called Anything in the set, which has like I do a bit of
yeah, let's hear that.
So it just sounds like a wasp being slapped, but
that's a good description. It pretty much does sound like a wasp being slapped. So you're essentially, so your sound is changing not only from song to song, but like throughout the songs most of the time, right? You're not really sticking to kind of one underlying tone and then kicking a pedal here and there for an effect really quick.
No, not really. I mean, the ones that get used the most are the Flint and the OCD. I'd say they're sort of a bed. They're sort of more generic, like just bashing around chords kind of things. And then I'll sort of pepper these other ones in.
I got you.
For more like solo parts or more like character parts. And then it's always just a combination of them distortions, really. Some of them play better with others than others. The Z-Vex sort of has to be used on its own because it's got a mind of its own.
I see.
But like I say, there's nothing particularly far out. It's just finding the right combinations of what's on there and trying to get something that sounds like characterful, but like with enough sort of cutting in there as well.
Right, that's the trick. And they're not getting too carried away, and it looks like you've got pretty much dialed in.
Yeah, I mean, I've had larger boards in the past and had a second board and things like that. And at that point, it was sort of too much to go wrong. You know, further down the line now, and we've got great techs and things like that. But there was a point where, you know, it was getting too much to like maintain all these pedals, and if something went down, it was just on us to sort of like try and fix it. So I ended up stripping back quite a bit, and this is sort of on its way to building back up. God knows what it'll be like in a few years. But like
Exactly. It's a craft though. That's what's so much fun about it. You know, you're crafting your tone, and it's a lifelong quest.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's good fun.
I really love getting stuck into pedals in the studio, but then it's sort of finding the balance of how much people can actually tell if you're using the same pedals live, and then satisfying yourself. Because I think there's, you know, we've used a lot of other ones on records, but I'm pretty sure with using these, I can emulate anything to enough of an extent where you wouldn't be like, oh, that sounds absolutely nothing like what's on there, you know?
So let's talk like a song like Longshot, for instance. How did you go about getting all the guitar sounds and parts on that song, and then how do you do your best to pull that off live?
That one's a bit of a mixed bag. There's, you know, we did it originally when we were tracking it. We did like a live take, and I went back and multi-tracked the guitars as you would. And there's a lot of specific sounds on that, so I could go through what I do on the live version of it.
Yeah, so let's see what you do. Let's hear a little bit of that. I'll try to get these mics out of the way because I don't know what's doing to our audio.
The chorus has just got a sort of chimey part like up here, and then it goes down like a kind of more country sort of thing. That's sort of live, obviously, because there's only two guitar players. You've got to kind of mash up a few parts that are split on the record. So on the record, it's just doing that chime with a certain sound, then there's chords underneath, but I've got to sort of make a mix and match of the parts to do it live.
Okay, so you're kind of splitting the two guitar parts into one that you play at the same time. You're not trying to loop anything or lay anything down over the top of something like that.
Exactly, yeah. And then in the second verse, it's just sort of got, because there's a lot going on in that song, and then it's sort of quite stoppy-starty. I want to just do something more rhythmic in the next verse. So there's a song by a guy called Serge Gainsbourg called Requiem Pour un Con, and it's a really sort of rhythm-based French track, and it's got a scratchy guitar part in it that I basically lifted the idea of that and put it on this for that little kind of. So it's just like a scratch more than a part, and then it turns into a melody there. So I say that's just trying to like keep out of the melodic area in the song and just keep it like sort of scratchy and rhythmic underneath.
Right, you just let the delay do the work of the sustain there.
Pretty much, yeah. And then it got up to there's a few middle eights in that song. It's quite an odd arrangement, but there's a bit in the middle which, when you play it on its own, it's got a bit of almost a like Nile Rodgers-y kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it's beautiful and it sounds huge.
Yeah, that's just me trying to unleash my inner Nile Rodgers, which I'm obviously not a patch on, but I'll say it's just another one where you wouldn't, on its own, it sounds like, well, you're not really aware it's in the track, but when you put all the parts together, it builds what they've done, which Jackknife was pretty damn good at.
Yeah, clearly. Where's this, what are you running into with all this? I mean, I don't see your amps out unless they're kind of buried back here. And you're listening to everything in the wedge.
So the way it works, everything just for isolation to keep the stage volume down. We have all the amps spun at the back, and then the center wedge here, that's just solely guitar. Okay. And then the band and everything else, the drums, vocals are all split between these two.
Oh, cool.
So it's nice. It's basically like having a cabinet just pointing back at us, but it's not blaring towards the audience. So our front of house guy's got a lot more control, and say it keeps the stage volume down so it's not bleeding into vocal mics and things. And
did you have to get used to that because you're not really feeling your amp push the way it does when it's right behind you? Or
I mean, the wedges are as powerful as they are, and
yeah,
you can get a good clear sound out of it. But the other thing as well is you can attenuate it a bit more for your ears. You know, if you're trying to save hearing.
Absolutely.
If I want to step away from it,
and it's facing you, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm really happy with that setup. I started doing that maybe like a year and a half ago or something like that, and it's saved my little ears as.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll show you what amps are back there.
Yeah, let's go take a look.
Like.
Yeah, I'd love to. See if we can get back there without getting too tangled up.
I feel like we're going on a ghost hunt or something.
It's just I've never seen anybody do this, and it's probably fairly more common than I realize these days. But
I've always
so
been
different.
quite a loud guitar player, and even when I was younger and we're playing in sort of, like little like nightclubs and things like that, I once had to put my cabinet in the dressing room. It was because it was blaring. So it was not even just off the stage or spun. It was all the way fed back in the dressing room, which was really good because when you're playing them sort of club nights, it's a brilliant way of stopping support bands stealing your rider when you're on stage because you can't bear to be in the room because it's so loud.
Yeah.
But so it's in a 3-way splitter, and they're actually just all on all the time. So it's an AC30, which is the amp that was predominantly on, well, almost on every single track on the new album. Not this particular AC30, but that was the go-to amp for this record. You can't see the heads on these because the heads are over there in a cabinet. I'll show you in a sec. But
cool.
There's a Bad Cat, a Hot Cat 50 going into this, which they're a great company. And then just a sort of classic Marshall JCM 800 going into this orange here.
What a pair.
The cabinets vary across the world. Like we've got different ones in the UK, but I mean, I don't have a astute enough ear to really sort of pick up on that sort of thing. I just sort of go, well, if it sounds good, I'm happy. But I'll show you the heads if they're background here. Actually, I may as well show you the guitars while we're here.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, we're here. Let's see what you got.
So that used 4 guitars mainly live. The special I was playing there is my sort of standard that I'll go to, like, start the gig with it, use it for almost every track. This is the most recent addition, the Gibson Lucille, which is the BB King.
Sure.
I mean, it's a classy broad. This is the gold top, which I used for a song called 7. that was my main thing. I got the special, and I still love the sound of this. Possibly even prefer the sound of this, but I've got a spine like a question mark, so that's me trying to balance that out somewhat with a lighter guitar.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is this, like, I don't know, 10 to 12 pounds somewhere in there? And are these heavy?
This was heavy. This used to be my main guitar, and this with the Bigsby on it as well. And I would just use this for the last song, but if it
yeah, you don't want to sling this over your shoulder for a
when
couple
you
hours every
stood
night.
like leaning over pedals like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Asking for back problems there. So.
It's beautiful, though. Black
it's a
Beauty
lovely
with a
guitar.
Bigsby.
Yeah, that's the loving Neil Young as a teenager coming out, and everybody if you like Neil Young,
Yeah.
you want to go for
Who
that.
doesn't like
black.
Neil Young, honestly?
Well, yeah, just try and emulate his guitar really. So, and then the heads are where are the heads? Oh, right there.
That makes me sketchy a little. There we go. So you're splitting 3 ways out of your pedal board and running that same signal into each head individually, and then just balancing the volumes between them. Or are you running like preamping in and out of anything?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. It's just a splitter over there and runs at each of these heads. That's
cool.
The spare JCM, spare Hot Cat. As I say, these bar cat amps, they're brilliant. They actually might be based here, because last time we played San Diego, they came down with some cabinets for us.
And so how often do you have to go to the spare?
Well,
now that I mentioned it tonight, you're going to have to, right? So they're hot
no,
and ready to go.
Murray.
Yeah.
Our text saying not yet.
Murray,
So,
we
yeah.
should talk to Murray a bit.
Let's set up. That's not drinks in it, but
Cool, man.
no, I mean, that nothing's like particularly vintage or anything like that. So they're all kind of, these bar cats are kind of off the shelf type things. So
Fantastic.
they're not like traveling with an amp that needs repairing on a day-to-day basis. So, but yeah, it's pretty.
It's beautiful,
much
man.
that.
We're here at House of Blues in San Diego with Johnny from Catfish and the Bottlemen, 91X Gearheads and Riffs, walking through the whole rig. And I don't want to go, but I got to let you guys go because I could nerd out on this stuff for hours. But you guys got work to do, so
Well,
thanks for joining me.
Do this again on the next record, man.
Absolutely, man. Pleasure. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
91X.